Hi, I'm Philip Bynoe, and I'm the bassist in the band A to Z. Oh, I have a third arm and no. I became a musician because for me it was a way to be an icebreaker. As I started as a very young age, and going to elementary school, it was really nice to be able to be, oh, I'm the kid that plays cello, or I'm the kid that plays guitar. Or, I could play in the little music school shows, and didn't give me popularity, but it made me somebody that some people would want to talk to. I mean, I was very extroverted in personality-wise, but very afraid of rejection, as most artists are. So being a musician gave me the ability to kind of play and have people go, oh, wow, I like what you're doing, or we could have a conversation about my favorite subject, me. In my family, we all studied instruments. My father was an upright bassist in the symphony. My mother played cello, and my elder sister played a little guitar. My brother is a professional bassist like myself. My next sister below him was a pianist, and then my sister closest to me was a violinist and a vocalist, and we still write songs together to this day. Growing up where I grew up in Massachusetts, I played a lot of ice hockey and stuff like that with kids my own age, and a lot of them were into rock and roll, but I was more into Motown and dance stuff. So my introduction to rock and roll was going to the rink with the guys, listening to Aerosmith and Led Zeppelin and those kind of bands in Boston and whatnot. So though I loved dance music and played it because I wanted to be a nightclub musician, my introduction to rock and roll came through that. The worst gig I ever played was way back in the early '80s when I was first starting out as a musician. Well, not that's actually a lie. That gig was kind of funny. I'll tell you that story another time. But we played at this club, and I had gotten a call to come and fill in on a band, and the owner of the club, when we walked in, said, "I don't want the band to play. I don't want you guys to play. We have to go home." And the guy who was running the band, we had came from a good 45 minutes away, and he said, "Oh, we're going to do the gig. We're going to do the gig." And I guess the reason the club owner didn't want us to play was because he knew that there'd be nobody there. So we started playing. Nobody came in, and as the night went on, the club owner got madder and madder and was, "Just stop playing!" And I'm up there playing. I thought it was going well, but he was really upset. And then at the end of the gig, the band leader and the club owner, he can get into a situation where he says, "I'm going to go in and get the money," and then he goes in and they shut the door, and you hear all the yelling, and then you hear chairs moving around, and he came out with some of the money and said, "Well, I said I'd pay you this much, and I'd pay you that much," and so but he had obviously had kind of a wrestling match with the club owner to get some money for the gig. That's my worst gig ever. My funniest gig, jeepers. Okay. So this is coming a few years much later, when I was in the Steve Vai band, or I still am in the Steve Vai band. Well, I don't know, am I still in the Steve Vai band? Yeah. You'll have to edit that. While I was playing with Steve Vai in Australia, we were playing in this club. It was maybe a 500 capacity theater, and Steve hadn't been to Australia for a few years, so they stuffed way too many people in the club, and the air conditioning broke. Unbeknownst to us, there was no AC, so we're playing, and it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and eventually Steve took his shirt off, so then I took my shirt off, and the drummer took his shirt off, and we're up there playing in our shirts, just dripping with sweat. People started, passing out in front of us and whatnot. After maybe 2 or 3 people passed out, we stopped, and one of the people from the club said, "Well, the AC is out, maybe you guys should stop for a while, and we'll get some people out so they can kind of cool down." And that was pretty, well, I mean, it wasn't funny for the people that passed out, but I thought it was funny that we were playing shirtless.